Hey guys, Perrin here. This is going to be a little bit different of a video than you might be used to for tasks. It's not going to be the super concise, tight 5 to 10 minute videos we usually try to do. I asked you guys for feedback in the Facebook group, and one of the things you wanted was help with Thrive. We try pretty hard not to make tasks a Thrive support community because they have their own support. However, lots of us do use Thrive, and they just changed from Thrive Content Builder to Thrive Architect, which is the same thing, just rebranded with a different look, different features, fixing some bugs and that sort of thing. So what I wanted to do, what I figured would be helpful, is to make a home page that's totally different than the one we have now using Thrive Architect, just so that we can walk through some of the elements together. You can see my creative process, my design process. Full disclosure, this is like the second time I've made this video. First time I made it, I ran into some bugs with Thrive. There were some things with the new architect that I couldn't figure out. And overall, it was a little bit rougher, and it was like an hour and a half long. And so I decided to just start over after I figured those things out. But it goes to show you that it's not always easy, and sometimes you have to work through bugs, and that's fine, and that's part of the process. But let's build a homepage together. Before we do that, I want to just talk about homepages in general. A lot of times what I see with student sites is that they just try to copy my homepage, and while that's totally fine, you know, it's fine to build a site that looks like HerePup. It's fine to build a site that looks like Health Ambition. The more unique your homepage is, and the better it looks and the better it matches your audience, basically the better it's branded, the easier it's going to be to reach out to people, the easier it's going to be to develop business relationships and friends, because you want to be your own brand at the end of the day. So these are all good starting points. You are welcome to copy Skill Golf or HerePup or Health Ambition, but I would encourage you to, as you start to grow, especially as you start outreaching, to maybe learn a little bit about design or grab a friend who's a designer to help you build a cool homepage, or to even maybe hire someone on Upwork for like 30 bucks an hour and just pay for an hour of their time to give you some input on your homepage design. In general, homepages should communicate what your website is about. They should be nice to look at. They should give people places to click on. So maybe we want to tell people that we publish golf gear reviews, which we do. And so we will tell them that on the homepage, and we will give them a place to click to get them to that spot on our website in case they want to go there. If we publish fun golf blog stuff, which we also do, we will give them a place to click so that they can go there. Basically, it's just a starting point for your website, and it should be linking out to all the other important points on your website too. So what do we do first? First thing we are going to do is in the back end of our WordPress site, we're just going to go to Pages, Add New. We use Pages for our silos on this site. So you can see we have the Nested Pages plugin here. And we've already got our home page here. So we're not going to mess with this home page. It might be worth looking at now. This is what we have so far. This has been our home page since we first built the site. I'm going to do something totally different. We're just going to add a new one. And we're going to call this Home. And because we already have a page called Home, it's going to say Home 2. Save it as a draft. We can't edit in Thrive Architect unless we have a draft. And for now, let's just jump right into Thrive Architect. What I usually like to do, and you can keep this menu if you want, and you can just hide this title and you can build a page here. That's totally fine. I like to use a home page as more of a blank canvas to kind of play a little bit more with our design. I'm going to do that here today, especially because I just want to practice creating something totally different that's outside of this design to help you see that you don't need to stick to the design that we've already come up with, and that you can always change, and kind of what it looks like to start from scratch. So in Thrive Architect, if you want to do something totally different, you'll click this little gear icon, template setup, choose landing page, and then go to blank. Make sure this is selected, and you can even start with any of these templates here. There are some that could work for landing pages. I'm going to choose template. It's going to take me to a totally blank page, and then I am going to delete this. So the first thing we want to do, the first thing I usually like to do, say this is like a brand new site. I haven't published any blog posts, and I haven't, decided anything about the site design. Usually the first thing I'll do is pick some brand colors. So I like to just say flat UI colors. And here, the first couple of results will always go to, or we usually go to just like color palettes like this. And you can just pick any colors that you think will go together. In the branding section of tasks, you can see me talk about color science and give you some resources to try to pick brand colors. They're more or less like 3 basic philosophies I like to think about when I'm looking at brand colors. One is to pick all or different shades of the same color, so like shades of green or shades of blue or shades of red. Like Bloomberg News does this with shades of purple, I think. So that's one idea. The other idea is to pick 2 non-complementary colors that are bright and contrast with each other so that they both pop. I did this with HerePup with like a bright Twitter style blue and like a bright orange. And those were my brand colors for HerePup. And Health Ambition does this with orange and green. What I think I want to do today here, though, is pick like one color that's a little bit brighter that represents my niche in some way. For golf, that's easy, right? It would be green. And I want to pair that with something neutral that can sort of ground the website. So for me, I'm going to pick this color, and here you can copy it, and it'll copy the hex code, and I'll pick this color, this midnight blue. I have already saved these hex codes in my notepad so that as I go into Thrive Architect, I have them at the ready, and I can save them there. Also, I don't have to keep switching back and forth to these pages. Something else I like to do before I start building a homepage is just look at examples. If you look at there's a huge community around web design, and you can always find good examples of great homepages. So if we just open all of these in a new tab, and I've already done a little bit of work before this. I was like prepping, and I've tried to do this video a couple times. So I've already looked at all of these, but the general process is open some of these lists and just scroll through and see which ones you like, see which ones might be good for what you're doing, see which ones might be bad for what you're doing. This, for example, is just too busy, and it requires too much stuff for what we are probably doing. This one might be cool. Stuff like this just requires way too much design. I would never be able to do that in something like Thrive Architect, and I don't have the skills to do it from scratch. So I would probably, vote against this if I was looking for inspiration. Stuff like this, I probably could do in Thrive Architect. This is just page sections with cool colors and like some custom backgrounds, right? So maybe if you're starting like a music website, this might be a cool idea for inspiration. You never want to copy people exactly. You can, but I always want to make stuff unique and put my own spin on it. But there are tons and tons of these lists, right? So when I'm starting from scratch, I usually like to go through and just get some inspiration, look at stuff, and see what else is out there, just to fill my mind with cool images. And of course, I would like save a couple of these and make some notes. You can spend however much time you want to on that, as long as you're not cutting into the actual homepage design time of your website. So I already did that. I already have some ideas. The other 2 things I did to prepare, I made a very simple text logo. This is literally just like, this is like a Photoshop style program that has a lot fewer features, but still works because it's free. And I literally just used the text tool. I chose a nice big thick font and I created a very simple text logo for Skilled Golf that I wanted to try to use. A lot of times I'll just like type out text and Thrive and like change the colors and that sort of thing. Any one of them is fine. For the budget that you're usually working with for a task website, it often doesn't make sense to go buy a logo. It just requires time. You're going through revisions, and a lot of times, if you go through like Fiverr or something, you're not going to get that great of a product. In fact, if we're looking at Skilled Golf here, I'm not crazy about this logo. Like, it's fine, but I can't read it, and I feel like this is just clip art, you know? So it was fine to demonstrate how to get a logo from Fiverr. Usually when I'm starting a brand new website these days, I like to either just use plain text, and a lot of people do this, right? Like if we look at the FedEx logo, you know, lots of huge companies just use plain text and it's totally fine and it works, and it's not like a logo is going to make you break your site. But as an exercise, I wanted to create a logo. The other thing I found was this free turf image, and I want to use this as maybe like a background section. The way I found this was I went to search.creativecommons.org and I just searched for golf turf. Search.creativecommons.org will let you search for free images in all of these different search engines like Flickr, Wikipedia Commons. I like to just start with Google, and it will, you know, like all of these are free. You do sometimes have to include attribution. The one that I found was total public domain. I think it's like license CC0, meaning that you don't need attribution at all for it. And those are the ones I usually like to use because I don't necessarily want to attribute my images. So I'm going to start building this. I might speed it up and like play some music over it and then like stop when I figure something is interesting. And you know, you guys know me, I like to talk about this stuff. So it's very possible that I might just talk all the way through the video. But I'm going to go ahead and start building this page. Don't expect it to be like ultra fancy. Don't expect it to be the pinnacle of design. I'm an SEO. I'm not a designer. I have spent a little bit of time learning about design. This is not going to be the most beautiful thing in the world. It's going to be a Perrin style homepage. So what we have now is kind of like a Gale style homepage. He did this one and I think it looks really good. This is going to be a little bit more of a Perrin style homepage. And we'll just see kind of what comes up. So first thing I want to do, if you're on a blank page, you're not going to have the menu. I usually just like to use like straight up text and include a hyperlink to those pages, right? We also want to include the logo. I'm just going to do it with columns. We'll use these, and then in this side, we're going to drag an image over. Select the image. I've already uploaded this. And we might as well call it Skilled Golf logo. Put that as the alt text too, just for a little bit of relevance. It's a little pixelated because I don't know how to do vectors. So we're just we'll make it that big for now. Who cares, right? And we will use this other text. And you know what? We're going to adjust the margins and padding of this image. 0 and 0. With this text, I'm going to add some margins, and then we'll say, whoops, I'm trying to type here. What is in our menu? Clubs, we don't need to put home because they will be at the home page. Clubs, tips and guides, and blog. So let's say clubs, guides. Let's say tips and guides just to keep it consistent. And guides, blog, and then maybe a little bit of extra space here between, and these vertical lines you can find above your return key. It's one of those things that took me like forever to figure out how to put that in. And then I'm just going to align this to the right. And probably one of the things that's really annoying so far to me about Thrive is that they have like this space under the paragraph. They've told me how to take it out, so there is a way, I think, but I've never been able to figure it out. I'm going to, because I want some sort of indication that it's the header of the page, I'm going to insert a divider. In general, I'm a big fan of dividers because they're just really useful ways to break up a page. I'm taking it down from like 5 pixels or whatever the default is, down to 1 pixel, just so it's nice and clean. And then I've already saved one of my brand colors, that green, which I had here. I just copy and pasted the hex code, plopped it in here, and then I used this little plus sign to save it as a favorite color. So it's going to mess up our color palette. These were the original colors, which were a little bit darker. And I'm putting some new ones in here just for the exercise of building a home page, but that's okay. So I'm just going to change it to this green, and I'm going to click apply. Now it's a little bit low, so we're going to remove the margins. I like to take margins just like down to 0 if I can, but usually you'll end up having to put in like a negative margin to really line stuff up the way you want. I think that looks okay. Obviously the text is a little bit high, so let's see if I for sure am not going to be able to find how to orient this to the bottom, so I'm probably just going to fix it with margins for now, and then ask them if they can help me change it later. Oh, maybe we'll just add a top margin and then add a negative margin. And this still looks a little bit weird. Let's see if we can maybe fix it by adjusting the... Let's see, what would it look like if it was just huge? Maybe a little bit crazy. I'm going to try something else. I'm going to try to get creative here real quick. First, I want to line up the... let's use the columns. Set a negative margin for the columns. Maybe even more. And then minus 30 or something for the image so that I can make it hang over a little bit. Y'all know I like when my logos just hang over. I think that's cool. That can work. And then these will be, let's see, the color here is 6666, the devil's number. Easy to remember. Let's see what this looks like with slightly bigger font, like 22. That works. And then let's grab the link for our clubs. You can also look at these when you're adding hyperlinks. So let's see, clubs, it might auto-populate. With categories, it's sometimes annoying, so I'm just gonna grab it. Don't need to worry about opening a new tab, so no follow. And then tips and guides. We'll plop this in, add the link, insert. It's changing these purple because I think it's because I visited them, but we'll fix that in a second. Blog, add the link here, insert. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight everything, go back to the font color. So you can see the font color is blue by default, which is the color of a hyperlink. And I'm just going to type in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 666. And click apply. And save. And we'll see if that saved anything. Yeah. It did not. Let's see if we can do it again. Apply. So it could be a bug with Thrive. It's just it didn't save it when I highlighted everything, so we'll just do it individually, no big deal. 666, 666. All right. This looks okay. I actually am digging this big logo so much that I might go even crazier. So I've adjusted the bottom margin again. And then I'll do it just big enough so that it doesn't nudge the line down, but you can see the line going through Skill Golf, but then it's hitting the bottom of the column, so might have to not go quite as crazy. But yeah, that works for now. Now what I want to do is add some sort of visual section for that's like an element that will draw the reader's attention in a place where I can put some big fat text or a picture or something that will tell them what it's about. And that's what I got that big image of turf for. So we're gonna do a background section. Background sections can do a bunch of different things. So first of all, since we screwed with the margins so much with the stuff up top, I'm gonna have to like probably adjust this quite a bit. Not 100, but like 80, something like that. And the background sections, there are a couple different options. You can stretch it to fit the entire page, and then you would click this to make the whatever's in the background section, the image or whatever, fit the entire page. That's what Gail did with this one. I'm not going to necessarily do that. I am going to keep it about this length and work in more of just like more of a boxed in blog format, because I feel like that's a little bit neater, and the picture that I got was bigger than the maximum WordPress upload size, which as far as I can tell is 1200 pixels wide. So when I made the background section huge, it was a little bit, it like zoomed in and depixelated the image, and it looked a little bit weird. So I might try to change this to 1200. That didn't work. 1 second. I'm gonna pause the video while I figure that out. Okay, so instead of making this a little bit bigger, I decided that I want to make the whole page a little bit bigger. So I'm going to settings, template setup, landing page settings, and I'm going to change the width of the entire box. So we'll go to let's go to 1200. Which I think is pretty good. So for the background section, if you want an image in your background section, you do not want to drag an image element in there because it will be like impossible to put text over it. So instead, you go down to background style as you are selected, and then click image, and then change image, then click your the image that you have saved in your media library. And it's really important here to click full size, whatever size you have saved. You don't want to upload like a huge image here, but you click that. So this looks a little bit weird, right? The way we fix this is to adjust the minimum height. So I've got it selected, it's in the section options, and I can just adjust this to whatever I want. And I think this is good-ish. Now, what we want to do is add some text here. So for this may be wrong, but we'll see. We can figure it out as we go. I'm just going to drag in a paragraph element, and I'm going to center it, and I'm going to adjust the margins. Whoops, not 1100, just 100. And we can fix it. That made the background section bigger, but we can fix that in just a little bit. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to write golf tips, and I'm going to select it. I'm going to make the font white, which is FFF. Click apply. I'm going to make the font size something ridiculous, like 160. I'm going to make it bold. And what I think I want to do here is I want to use one of Thrive's features, which is their like text animation, or like their text call out thing. And so if you select the, whoops, sorry. I hate when it does that because I don't know what's going on. So we'll just redo it. Paragraph, golf tips. Change the color. Apply. And then change the font to like 160. And then we will center it. And we will make it bold. And change the margins to 100. Now let's see if we can find the feature text. I'll pause while I find it. It's somewhere. Okay, found it. What we want to do is select some text, and then under text options, it's in the advanced, and type focus animation. So we'll click add, and then here we've already got text set for the type focused animation, and I want to add new. And basically what I'm trying to do here is add all the stuff that we're talking about on the blog so that it changes as the reader is looking at it. So clubs, gear, news. And for the highlight color, I'm going to pick the brand color. And we'll save that. And for whatever reason, it will unbold, but that's okay. We'll just save it again. And if we want to preview this, we can go back to the WordPress editor page, and I'm probably actually going to keep this open. And it will run through them here. So I'm sure there's a way to make this bold, to make this type focus stuff bold, and I'll try to figure out a way before the end of the video. But you can see the basic idea here. All right, so I couldn't not go figure that out. It was driving me crazy. I think it's a Thrive bug. If you want all of your words to be bold, if you set like a type focus animation, instead of hitting Control B, you have to come into the little text editor bar thingy here and hit bold here. But you can see that it works now. And they're all bold, which is cool. The other thing I want to do here is, where's the type focus animation? Let's see. 1 second. We click on it here, and I want to add the blink cursor effect just because I like it. Click F5 to reload, and then hopefully we can see the blink cursor. Sometimes you have to hit Control F5 to do like a hard refresh so that it's not cached or anything. Maybe we didn't save it actually. Let's see. Or maybe we have to apply them and then save it. And then we'll reload this page one more time so that we can see the cursor. There we go. So we've got a cursor, and people can see all of the stuff that our website does, which is kind of cool. So far, so good. Now, usually what I like to do, one of the things I like to do is put a button on here that will take people either to a mailing list or like a start here page, so that you can direct users who land on your homepage who are typically highly interested in your site and journal. Usually they've like landed on an article and they want to read more, so they go to your homepage to see what you're all about. We want to capture those people as best we can. So if you have an email list set up, you can do it here. And tasks, a lot of times we won't. So instead we could do like a start here page that will take people to a page that explains our mission and direct people to affiliate articles. It could be a big list of affiliate products or the products that we most recommend. Something that might make you money is basically what we want to do. We don't have anything like that set up, but I do want to show you what the button looks like. So I'm just going to find the button, which is up here, drag it in under the text. I'm going to change the background to my new brand color green. And I'm going to say, start here. And then we want to change the margins and actually probably look at the text options to make it a tiny bit bigger. Let's do 22 again. 22, I'm going to change this website font. I'm pretending this is a brand new site, so I don't need to keep the fonts consistent necessarily. And Thrive website fonts, I really like, oops, not that one. Arial Helvetica as like a good sans serif. And then for the button, I'm going to adjust the margins, layout and position, so that it's a little bit closer. That's good. And then here, see if we can adjust the margins here as well. So now this is more or less in the center. You know what? I know what's gonna happen, so I'm predicting this. So I'm gonna change it to slightly less of a margin, but we might have to adjust it a little bit more. So I like this so far. I also like these like little background elements to have kind of a flair. You don't have to do this. This is just like a personal preference. I'm having fun. So within this background section, I'm going to go to decorations. This is one of the things that I did manually when I was building HerePup, but that Thrive has built in, or I'm sorry, Thrive Architect has built into it. I'm in decorations and I'm going to pointer, and then you can make a little pointer at the bottom, which kind of to me is like a visual indicator that people should like read further. Easy, simple little thing. Let's see. All right, so we play with the margins. We definitely want to keep that as -50. And we'll adjust the margins of the button instead. So see what it looks like, just 0. All right, with the pointer there, that looks like it's more or less in the middle. I always like to just refresh the actual page to see what it looks like. So it's coming along pretty good here. Now, one of the things that I like to put on my homepage that I feel like makes me look legit and it helps people connect with the website is social icons. So to do this, I'm going to put in a content box. If you want to just put something at the bottom, you can click it instead of dragging it, and it will put it in the middlemost, I'm sorry, the bottommost position. So I did that with content box. I'm going to go back to the Thrive elements and drag in some columns, and you guys will see what I'm up to here in a second. Got some columns, and then I'm going to drag in an icon, add an icon for Facebook. Pick the box one. I'm going to change the color to my blue brand color. I'm going to maybe make this bigger. See what it looks like at 100. I like that. I'll duplicate it. I'll drag it in. I will duplicate it, drag it in, and then we'll just change the icons here to the Twitter box and the Pinterest box, which are probably the 3 social accounts you want. So obviously these are weird and spread out right now. So what I like to do with this in this situation, and one of the things that's useful in general, is to adjust the size of content boxes. So anytime you're in Thrive Architect and you have one element selected, at the top bar, you can always select a parent element. So if we click on the icon, we can see that the icon is in a column, and then columns, and then the content box, and then the landing page. So I'm going to click the content box, and to smush all these together, I'm going to adjust the width of the content box until they're about right there, and then layout and position, we can make them appear in the center. Go to columns again because I think they're a little bit low, and I will just adjust that. I still think they're a little bit low, and we'll see if so the 0 margins there. Content box is also has 20. So we adjusted the margins of both the columns and the content box. Now we've got these 3 cool little icons that show our social accounts. It's a little bit counterintuitive to link to these. Instead of, like, normally for text and images, you can link to it directly from Thrive. Here, you have to click on the icon, go to animation and action, and then link, or click the little hyperlink, and then you type, like facebook.com, apply. And this, obviously, you don't want to go to facebook.com. It'll be your Facebook page for your website. But I'm just doing it here for demonstration purposes. Twitter.com, and then, whatever your Pinterest is. Pinterest.com, apply, save, see how it looks. And then you can click on all of these, and it's going to take you to Facebook, Twitter, or Pinterest. Okay. So far, I'm liking how this is turning out. Let's keep going. I'm going to now create a background section, not content template, but a background section. And I'm going to make this the height. I want it to be like this big, whatever that is. 375, let's call it. And here I want to add a little bit of flair before I start plopping stuff in. So I'm going to go to background style. I'm going to use a light gray. So let's just pick any gray color and then make it very light. Too light? I don't know. We'll see. I think I actually know. Is that good? F3, F3, F3. Yeah, okay. I don't know if there's a border on this. I don't think there is necessarily. No, there isn't. It's just how it kind of looks here. Now what I'm going to do is go to decorations again. And instead of the pointer, I'm going to pick slanted edge. And then from the bottom, we can adjust the angle. Yeah, I'm going to put it at 45 degrees, which takes us to the top. Now I'm going to add some columns, and I'm going to pick half and half, and then, I'm not making this up on the fly necessarily. I spent probably 30 minutes deciding on this design. Again, this is not like the pinnacle of design. I'm sure you can come up with something better. This is just kind of what I was doing when I was playing around and having fun. So I've got some columns here. I'm going to go back. I'm going to add another content box. I'm going to put that in this column. And this content box, first thing I'm going to do is adjust the margins. Like always, I'm going to go to background style. I'm going to change it to white. And then what I'm going to do is add a shadow. Make it kind of like this. I'm going to adjust the blur just so that it's not crazy dark or anything. And maybe bring in the spread a little bit just so that it pops off the page a little bit. I know you guys are probably like, what the hell is Perrin doing right now? But I've got a plan, trust me. So in this content box, I'm gonna adjust the maximum height. And so I've got like a box that pops out over this background element. I just think that looks cool. And in this box, I'm going to put where is it? Stylized list. And this list is going to basically talk about like features, benefits, sort of thing. You'll see what I'm talking about in a second. And then I'm going to bring in some text, say golf gear. And then I'm going to change this. Trust me guys, it's all gonna come together. Select it. Select it. Center it. Change the font. Something crazy. Change the line height. Make it bold. Change the color to a brand color. And actually probably, let's change the line height again. Yeah, I suppose that's fine. And then with these list elements, so basically I've got a section that says golf gear, and then these list elements are going to talk about what we do with golf gear, why people should be reading about it or reading us for information about golf gear. I'm going to change the list elements, the icon rather. So here I'm going to select a parent, which is stylized list, change the icon. I don't know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something that kind of pops. Let's do these little arrows. Maybe that's cool. I know there's not a golf ball here because I already looked. So we'll just do the arrows for now in this little circle. I think that's fine. So we'll select those, and in the stylized list, we'll change the icon color to our green brand color. These are a little bit small, a little bit weird. So stylized list. Can we change the font size from here? It says 160, so I think that's not the same. We'll change, so we'll have to go in and change each element. We'll put it at, I don't know, 24. 24. 24. And for the text element, stylized list item, I think we are going to have to change the layout and position of these. Just like adjust them by 10. Nope, that didn't work. Let's see. Change the line height. 1.5. We'll see if that works. Change the line height, 1.5. I just want them to be centered with the little bullet icon, 1.5. And then now in stylized list item, or stylized list rather, we can change the list item spacing to space them out a little bit more, so that they're not like crazy bunched together. And then I don't think thrive indents is enough by default, so I'm gonna add a nice big indent, and then we're gonna make up some salesy sort of text that we're gonna use more or less to entice people to read. So, and we're gonna tell them what we are doing. So we'll do something like get detailed reviews of golf clubs from all the popular brands, so you don't have to, or we'll leave that for now. I'm sure I'll figure out something better in a second. Massive buying guides to help you compare golf clubs of particular, or of golf clubs in every class, and something like expert opinions that inform, that help you build the ultimate golf tool kit. And let's adjust the layout and position here too. Oops, stylized list. We'll bring this margin in a little bit. Actually, let's make it 30. And adjust the top margin to center it. And you can, make this look however you want. But the idea is more or less to tell people what you do and to entice them to read further. Of course, we want to give them something to click on if we are doing that. So what I'm going to do now is pull in a button. Take me to the gear reviews. Change the font size to whatever. What was it? 22? Okay. Change the font size to 22. And we will change the button color to our brand color. And we'll probably want to adjust the margins and padding like always. And what I kind of want to do here is maybe add a shadow. I haven't necessarily decided if I want to do that yet. I do think that the columns could stand to be moved down just a little bit. Yeah, okay. I can dig it. Let's see. Let's take 10 pixels off of that. Save it. See how it looks. So one of the things that's standing out to me here is that this is a serif font and everything else is a sans serif font. Just for continuity's sake, maybe let's change it to website fonts, Arial Helvetica. Website fonts, Arial Helvetica. Website fonts, Arial Helvetica. Apply. And it looks a little bit better. I think the black is a little harsh, so I'm going to take this down to like 85. Just because we don't want it to look... One of the things that will help you look less amateur than a lot of websites out there is just not using a straight up intense black like the black and just make it a dark gray. It's a nice easy little trick that makes everything a tiny bit softer. Save it, and I just want to see how it looks without all the Thrive stuff in there. Okay, I'm happy with it. Now let's give people examples of golf gear blog posts for them to click on if they don't click on this button. So this button again, you would link to the category. Let's see if we can do that. I'd say, and it's same as the icons. So you click on the button and then you can click here and then we're going to, this will be our clubs, right? So we would just add the link there, apply, save, and now if we come back to the page, we can click this and it'll go to that category. You can do other stuff with this font too. So I know this font's like huge, but I kind of like this. I like stuff that pops. Now what we want to do is give people blog posts from this category to click on if they want to, something that's nice for them to read. or browsable. Your homepage should be browsable, and it should give people a taste of what you're all about. So I'm gonna drag in or just click a post grid. Obviously ugly and not of the correct category. So what we want to do here is edit grid options. We are using pages for everything, so we are in the content section. We're going to delete post and click pages. We're going to set this to 3, and then probably do individual pages because I want to call out just some of our best content that's like the most popular in this niche, or that's the most comprehensive. And those are going to be our most general. What are the best golf drivers for 2017? Best wedges. What are the best wedges for 2017? Best irons, probably. Let's see. Yeah, best golf irons for 2017. I'm going to save that. And then I still think these are ugly. So what I want to do now, probably just take out the text. I don't think that fits with the homepage we're trying to build. I don't want people to be reading these excerpts. I want them to be reading more of like the mission and stuff. So up here in the post grid options, I'm going to uncheck text. I'm going to uncheck read more link, which already looks a lot better. I'm going to save it, close, and I'm going to click on this grid again. And we are going to, you can adjust the image height. I think I'm going to leave it pretty high. Default was 280. I'm going to leave it at like 250. I'm going to give it a little bit more breathing room with a higher margin, maybe even more than 80. It's okay for your home pages to have a little bit more white space. Title size, we are going to change to something a little bit less crazy. 24 is fine. Title line height, usually the same size as the text is good. 24, but it looks a tiny bit weird, so I can go with 27. Why not? Text color, we're going to take it down from black to 85% of black. And I can never tell if that changes on the post grids. That might be a Thrive bug. I think that's mostly fine. Let's see how it looks. One of the things I've never liked about Thrive post grids is like the shadow here. And you can get rid of that with some CSS. We're not going to do that now because I don't think it's overly important. But if you wanted to, you could. When you do get rid of the shadow and or the border, sometimes the titles can look out of place and you have to play with them a little bit. And you know what? I'm going to see if I can change the typeface of these as well. Font face, website fonts, Arial Helvetica. Yeah, that's good. Oops. Let's redo it. One quick thing to note here too is that these are the featured images we created for our first design. Ideally, you would have featured images that would look good with whatever design you're doing. So I might just like, this design is fine. I might just use like the brand colors that I had chosen for this new page if I was doing this all over again. So we know we have a section talking about golf gear. Let's just add one of our other categories, which is like tips and guides. I don't know if I want to necessarily call out the blog on the homepage because the blog has like stupid fun stuff meant for social media, like Darth Vader on a golf course or whatever. Maybe that's not putting our best foot forward in this case. And the featured images just look really crazy. Like, do we want Darth Vader on our homepage? I don't know. So I'm just going to make another section similar to this that calls out our tips and guides, which we have and are good, and we're probably going to be adding more of those. But it's a good thing for a golf website to have. It's like a section on tips, and so we want to call that out as well. So what I'm going to do, easiest way to do that is find the parent element that houses all of this stuff, which is the background section. And then when you click that up here, it's going to select that, and I'm just going to click duplicate, and I'm going to drag it down. I'm going to give it some breathing room. Click the background section, layout and position, It looks like it's, well, we might have to go ahead and give it 100 pixels. Who knows? The other thing I want to do is I want to switch up the style a little bit. I don't just want it to look at the exact same. I want the homepage to be interesting. So instead of going up and to the right, let's just see if we can switch the direction. Where's decorations? Slanted edge. Okay, so we have to make the bottom go all the way down first, and then click the top one, and then go 45 degrees on the top. So now instead of going up and to the left, it goes down and to the right, almost like you could sandwich these things together, which is kind of cool. And then maybe let's, oops, undo that for sure, or that's kind of what I meant to do. I want to change sides, which gives the page a tiny bit more movement. We'll select the button and we'll move the button over here too. Instead of golf gear, say tips. And then we'll change the text here. Learn how to improve every aspect of your golf game from secrets to boosting. Get secrets from the pros. And that's not necessarily lying, because we include lots of videos from pro players about how to improve stuff. So it's not like I'm making up stuff here. Same with this little like expert copy up here, like expert opinions, because we do try to go get opinions from experts, and we do try to get opinions from pro players. We just get them from YouTube, and we get them from other like ESPN.com, like videos they've created where like pro players are talking about this stuff. So it's not lying, and it's something that we can call out in what's essentially advertising copy, just to make it more enticing and to let people know what's inside. Get secrets from pro players on everything from swing speed to strategy. Never something like, I don't know, fine tune your game. And finally, this copy would be so much better if I spent more time on it. I'm just winging it here. Finally, fine tune your game, and finally get under your shave those last few points off your score. Also, just the editor and me, no periods at the end of these if it's a bullet list, unless it's a sentence. And then instead of clubs, we'll go to tips and guides, and we'll, whoops, where is it? We'll use that as our link. Animation and action, apply, copy and paste, and then for the grid, duplicate it, and then we can just drag it all the way down to the bottom. This, you'll notice, made everything look weird, and it's because I dragged it into the background section. So I'm just going to drag it below the background section, and it looks fine. Here, we will go to the grid options and then plop in different pages. We'll delete these, and let's see, let's kind of pick some here. I like the Ultimate Guide to Golf Handicap, Workout for Golfers, and let's see, Beginner Tips. That's fine. So we'll say handicap, Ultimate Guide to Golf Handicap. Can't find it here. It's in here somewhere. Okay. There we go. And then, what was the other one? Workout. Golf workout routine. And then beginners. Tips for beginners is what I'm looking for. Best. Tips. Here we go. Awesome. Now we can close this, and that's pretty much good. Let's save it. See what our homepage looks like. I've reloaded it. And overall, I think this is a pretty good, pretty successful homepage. Last thing you want to do, because your homepage needs to have these links on it, is to create a footer that won't appear naturally in a landing page, which is what you're using to build your homepage if you're following along with me anyway. So what I usually like to do for that is to just add one more page section or background section. And then for this one, we'll stretch it to fit the screen, and we will click content covers the entire page. And we will adjust the height so that it's, you know, big. Let's just say 300. And I like to use brand colors for these, so I'll use our blue. And then let's adjust the layout and position. So we want to remove this little white strip on the bottom. It's usually like 20 pixels, maybe more. Whoops. Sometimes you can't, which also could be a bug with Thrive. No, you can't. Okay. So we'll say -40, and that takes us to the very bottom, and then we want to give ourselves some breathing room here. And here's where you can put like this. Actually, you know what? Instead of doing this, let's put a content box in here so that we can control the width a little bit better, and make the width 1200, which is the width of our normal content, and then center it. And obviously also create a little bit more breathing room, and let's go golf. Basically we want it to look like this, right? So we can literally just copy and paste that text. Whoops, we don't have a paragraph element in there, but we'll add a paragraph element. And one of the things I like to do is Control-Shift-V so that you can copy and paste stuff without the formatting. Whoops, sorry. Copy it, or I'm sorry, select all of it, change it to white, click apply, and then add little vertical lines here. Let's see. And then we can add links to these. About, privacy, insert. Whoops. I see what I did, guys. I know you guys probably caught that way earlier. Privacy policy, insert, contact. This is also where you put terms of service, DMCA, or whatever. And then we can change these all to white. We missed some here. That's okay. We'll just go back and change it. The other thing I usually recommend is like covering your bases FTC wise. So skilledgolf.com. Just in your footer, you should also have this closer to the top of your page to cover your bases FTC wise. But I also put it in my footer just for extra peace of mind for myself. Also participates in other affiliate programs and may earn commissions from purchases you make after clicking on links to products. And then because there's a little bit of space at the bottom, we can close it up by adjusting the height of the content section. It only goes down so far. That's okay. We'll just make it a cool 180. Save. And then let's move this down a little bit just because I'm anal. Reload it one more time. So we've got our logo, we've got a divider, we've got clubs that goes to clubs, tips and guides, blog, social icons that go to different places. We've got, we kind of tell people what we do, and we have some ad copy that makes it fun for people and gets them to click. We've got a button that goes to that thing. Oh, I see something I forgot. Take me to gear reviews. Take me to, and actually we could make it more fun. Help me improve my game. And then we've got some blog posts, which will look better for you because your featured images will be a little bit more tailored to your design. And you can do lots of stuff with this. I have no idea what's going on there, so we'll have to figure that out. Oh my word. Did we do something crazy? Okay. 180, that's why. So I just set it to like 10,000 pixels accidentally, but I put it back to 180. We'll reload it one more time just so you guys can see the finished product. And then you can click the about policy, privacy policy, contact. Other stuff you might want to have in here is your terms of service, a DMCA policy, a policy for returns if you like you're selling products or you're using a different affiliate program. You might put their disclaimer here. Basically, whatever you have in your footer is what you would put in this little section. So you can also make this wider. You could make this fit your whole screen. I just didn't do that because I couldn't upload an image big enough and I really like this turf image. So yeah, this is just me having fun building a homepage so that you could see kind of what my creative process might be if I was building a homepage for the first time, and also to walk you through some of the Thrive elements using Thrive Architect so that you can see how to build like homepages. One last thing to note here is this almost certainly looks like crap on mobile. So if we click the little design thing here and we change it to mobile, you can see it just looks real bad. To fix this, if you are in the design element for mobile, and this is important because everything is going, really mobile. Whatever you change while you are in this design or in the mobile editor will only change for mobile. So we could change the font here to something that's not crazy. And if we go back to desktop, it still looks the same. So essentially what you need to do is go into the mobile editor and just switch stuff up so that it looks okay. Like we could change the height of the background to not be so crazy. We might change the margins of this to move it up. And then whatever we changed, we could go back to desktop and it's not going to change anything on the desktop. The other thing you can do is there's just no hope for the elements up here to look good on mobile. So if you click an element, go to style and templates, responsive, you can check whether that element will be visible on mobile or not. So if let's just hide all of these. All of these like the divider, and actually the columns. We'll just make the columns not visible on mobile. Now if we go to mobile, none of that stuff is visible, and then we can add something a little bit cleaner, like, where is it? Custom menu. Okay, so I added a custom menu, and here it's gonna just contain all of your menu stuff. You can change it to whatever colors you want. So you would change this to like your, your brand colors or whatever. Main color, maybe we can make that the brand color. Child color, whatever. Child background, advanced. I'm not sure why that didn't change, but you can change the color of the menu, and it'll basically make you like a clean little mobile menu. I'm not going to go through and edit all of this for mobile, but you can figure it out based on the elements you have. It is important that you make stuff look good on mobile, and you might want to go a little bit simpler of a design than I had for the desktop, or that I had for this page if you really want to make it easy on yourself when you're editing for mobile. But you can always just hide elements and create new elements specifically for mobile. And this is the menu that I dragged in, and we want to make this not visible on desktop. Save. So that's about it. I know this is long and rambly, but I wanted you guys to see my entire process of creating a homepage from scratch so that you can maybe have help, moving your creative juices by seeing me do it, and also so that we can walk through some of the elements of Thrive and that you can get a really good idea for how it works, especially if you're building a more complex page like this. Thanks so much for following along, and let me know if you have any questions.